are back from commercial, and this is the 2013 roundtable for worst game of the year. And I will just recap really quick who won last year's worst game of the year. And in a landslide, Orion Dino Beatdown won the worst with nominees.
Was it unanimous that last year? I don't remember.
It was. We had
one in a landslide. I thought
we had like 15 votes and like 10 of them.
Yeah. Okay. Close enough.
War Z was also nominated. Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City. And Raider Z, which was a fucking bad game.
2012 had some real stinkers, but I think that 2013 has stepped up.
This 2013
has blown the water away.
Well, let me go through some of the votes that people had. I'm not looking at names. Somebody voted for Modern Warfare 3, which didn't even come out in 2012. That's how bad they thought it was.
Oh, Lord.
Also, we had Black Ops 2 on there, Dead Island, and everything else was the 3 that I already mentioned.
Boy, compared to this list, Dead Island sounds like Game of the fucking Year material.
Yeah,
well, Dead Island was also a 2011 release, wasn't it? I think it was.
Was it?
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think it was.
Was it
then Riptide came out this year.
Okay. No, 2012 then. No, yeah, you're right. You're right.
2011, yeah. How did that sneak in there?
Well, somebody fucked up.
Yeah, it was September.
Yeah, holy shit. That island looks like a fucking masterpiece. Wow.
It is.
It is. Yeah, I guess, it is.
All right, so we're going to start out with an old familiar face.
Yeah.
A game hello again, old friend.
An original game that we were super hyped for, and this game won the award last year under a different name. Orion Dino Horde for the award once again this year.
Yep. I think it should repeat. It could possible. We'll see. But it's an honor.
Pretty fucking bad.
It's
an
pretty
honor.
Fucking terrible. I mean, Katie Zen put himself through 24 hours of it for charity.
That's how I know Katie Zen is insane. Like he is insane.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I just don't know.
I don't even know if we need to discuss this game.
Well, absolutely stays on the list.
The first time around, I never even got to play the game because every time I tried to join multiplayer, it would crash the game, and it never got fixed. So I uninstalled it, and then when Dino Horde came out, me and Nick played it. We actually had a fun time, despite the fact that the game is an absolute piece of garbage. The physics engine was really funny. And the game had slow-mo, so whenever you would kill like giant dinosaurs like a T-Rex, they would, for some reason, their physics would cause them to do like front flips, and it would also slow-mo at the same time, so you just got to see them flail around for about 30 seconds straight. It was just incredible. Really? But the caliber of this game, now, I don't know how many people know this, but apparently Orion Dino Horde has Toontown maps. Now,
I just saw that, yeah.
Toontown is a Disney thing, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
And
is it Sony?
I don't know, but Spiral Game, or wait, maybe it's a different Toontown IP. I'm not sure, but Spiral Game Studios. Yeah. Okay, they have a video on their channel that shows Toontown maps, and it's dinosaurs inside of a cutesy area with like circus music playing. They really stepped up their game this year.
I seriously don't know how you fuck up a game this bad, though. You had dinosaurs and jetpacks and laser guns. You had the ingredients for awesome, and this is what you made.
Well,
yeah.
Well, it's what you made twice.
But there's a lot of games that have ingredients for awesome that just turn out like shit because their whole like programming part of the game seems to really be neglected.
I will say, when we got the email for Dino Horde with free game keys, we never used the game keys. So
it didn't happen.
Brandon and I just left it in the admin email.
That's just sad.
Just like, nope, I've already got this. We didn't even give them out to viewers. We were just like, I'm not going to do that to you guys.
Yeah. We spared a lot of you guys. So
this next one's interesting because it's such a shoddily made thing. But Deadly Premonition. I think Mark has played this.
Oh yeah, I've played it. I would not put it on this list.
I know.
It would not make the final list. I would agree.
It wouldn't be on the list for worst game of the year at all for me.
Okay, all right. I was just going off of the locked PC resolution for this game. I heard a lot of bad things about it.
I understand that. Yeah, definitely. I would put it under letdown personally because of the fact that like resolution and shit was locked, and there were a lot of issues with controls and things like that, and too many fuck ups to list that luckily Durante, or however you say his name, has more or less fixed most of them, because he's a goddamn amazing person and deserves all of the money in the world from all of these shitty developers that can't get their games to work right on a PC. And he does it in 24 hours. Like, you should be ashamed of yourself that this one guy can get your game to run at 1080p just fine, but you couldn't do it. And you're an entire fucking dev team. Just kill yourselves. But the game, if you're in the right mindset of what to expect out of it, it has a lot of character and it's very fun to go through. So I wouldn't call it a terrible game.
There you go.
It's got bad mechanics, but it's a really fun experience. That's all I can say about it.
So, Deadly Premonition, just based on that, cannot win this award. It sounds a little too good for this.
Definitely.
Oh, it's better than some of the things on this list, at least. So. Definitely.
All right, this next one. Coming in, taking the crown for lowest PC game Metacritic score ever recorded. Ride to Hell Retribution, which I am still planning to play at some point.
You should, man. It's wonderful.
I believe the Destructoid review was the lowest review Destructoid ever gave a game, 1 out of 10, for being racist, misogynistic, empty, and just an overall waste of everyone's time. It's like pretty much what it said. This game currently has a 16 from critics and a 1.1 user rating on Metacritic.
Wow. How does it even have a 16 from critics? I don't understand that at all. It fails in literally every aspect that a game can fail in. It fails in all of them. It should be a 0. It should be the only 0 game to ever come out. I don't get it.
This is the bottom of the barrel. This is where all other games will judge how shitty they are.
Eurogamer Germany, 20 out of 100. God. Gallons of bad pixel
really
blood.
Doesn't like this game.
Choppy dialogue and surreal scenes of arbitrary lovemaking.
With clothes on. With clothes on.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, they just grind with clothes on because they censored it. They have the sex scenes where you can see the female bent over in the doggy style position, and your guy's behind her grinding, and they're both still wearing their jeans. Don't know what's going on there.
All right. I'm down.
Dude, dry humping is so underrated since high school, dude. Still hot. Still hot.
You never just get a good dry hump anymore.
Yeah. Actually, that's a service. I think that alone that should get this off the list.
I bet you can pay for that in Japan.
Oh, I'm sure.
A good dry hump.
Hey, it's a good way to keep from getting STDs from your local prostitute.
Yeah,
so everybody get on the dry humping scene.
And sometimes when you've done it all, it's good to just bring it back. It's like what I've said with masturbating to National Geographic, like to bring it back to real basics.
Yeah, square one. That's where it all started.
Yeah,
right.
It's back in the day, man.
Just basically like a shitty movie and then just dry hump something. That's welcome back to 8th grade.
The only good thing about this game is that it came out at a $30 price point. And this is a Deep Silver game, so they apparently just mailed it the fuck in. This is... I'm going to just read... This is obviously making the final cut. This is the Destructoid. And to Deep Silver, I believe Jim Sterling did this review.
He did.
To Deep Silver, I can say only this. How dare you? How dare you charge $29.99 for a game that would be a theft at a third of that price?
Wow.
How dare you resurrect a game that should have stayed canceled in 2009? How dare you? Any goodwill you may have earned from customers in your years of existence will absolutely be ruined by the release of this squalid little mutant of a game. No word exists for the level of disgust I have for everybody involved in its blasphemous making.
Wow.
So there you go.
That is probably the harshest review ever.
Yeah.
That's,
So Ride to Hell Retribution.
That's definitely.
I mean, it was weird to me that it was made by Eutechnics, which is strictly a racing developer, but for some reason they got a hold of this game and they quote unquote finished it. I don't even know how that happened because they don't do anything except racing games. This is their only one that isn't.
I think it's one of those cases where Deep Silver, who is primarily a publisher, bought the license to this thing, or picked it up again and was like, "Hey, you guys aren't doing a whole lot right now. Go ahead
Figure
and
it
do
out.
this. Figure this out. There's some shit here from the last guys. So you just figure this out." And they're like, "We don't even know how to write a story. All I know is about engines and shit, man."
Should we hire someone? No, fuck it. We can figure it out.
Fuck it, put this shit
But
out.
they couldn't even get the motorcycle driving right, and I thought that they would at least get the car mechanics correct, but that didn't work either. That was awful.
So this next game is another one that was purely maligned, although it had a much higher score in all aspects than Ride to Hell. Alien Colonial Marines.
Yeah. Okay. So
This game-
having who's played it here? I played it. Who else played it?
I played
Anyone
little
else?
parts of it and just
Me and
stopped
Stark
in
got this-
disgust.
Sark and I bought this day it came out, and we were like, we're gonna make a bunch of videos on this, and we got I think we did 2 videos before we were like, this is just fucking horrible. The problem with it though is I don't think it can be. It's not in the same discussion as worst game of the year because it's still heads and tails above this other shit. It's definitely in letdown category. Because this game was delayed for so long, it changed hands so many times. It had potential.
The money went to Borderlands 2 instead.
The money,
of this
exactly.
game.
And then it's a really bad game. But I don't know with these other ones on the list if it could
See,
be.
I think
worst
this game
of the
doesn't
year.
get onto this list just from the hilarious. I think if you look at that game from a totally different standpoint, they made a comedy game. They made a game that was trying to make you laugh. This is the best game of the year at that point. The number of GIFs and videos of totally broken AI of the alien
Exactly.
just fuck off and just walks past you, doesn't care.
That's the
Yeah,
best
you
gift.
walk past enemies in the game and shit. Yeah, it's really
The
bad.
best gift is that one with the "you what, mate."
You fucking
That's
won't
right.
make
Keep on walking, cunt. That's right. And the alien runs up to him, and then it just takes a left, just pieces out. It's just-
No, fuck you, dude. Yeah, so I think just from the hilarity, Ride to Hell, you didn't get anything good out of that. But Aliens, at least it was funny when it was bad.
I think it almost has
Yeah.
to, with the budget this game had, though, and the fact that it had an Alien franchise tied to it.
It's definitely a AAA failure, potential, right? You look at that franchise and you're like, yeah. I mean,
I think it has to make the final nominees. I just think
All right.
think the
All right.
amount
That long of a development cycle.
That's
that
fair.
prestigious of a
with
dev working on
major
it.
developers, yeah. And this,
right, but we're still in worst game of the year. I feel like this is all conversation for biggest letdown. But anyway, maybe there wasn't that much. I mean, people were pretty excited about
can be
actually
on both
coming out.
lists,
but
yeah.
You're right. It could
There
be.
are several that are on both lists, aren't there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it could definitely be both.
So, Aliens, Colonial Marines, I think it makes this cut. Unless
You know
someone
what?
else-
Thinking about it, I think maybe it makes it through just because
Look at the
there was
AI
so
when it
much.
came out.
Yeah.
That alone,
Well, not only that, if they showed that game off and it was a totally different game, it was
Yeah, it was a complete lie. The previews were a complete lie.
Yeah,
I don't know if you guys know this. They put out a season pass for this game because why the fuck not?
Yes.
And so there's DLC packs for this game. In one of them, a character that dies in the main game is resurrected in the DLC, which is a continuation of the story.
Hold on, I'm looking this up. I'm trying to find out.
I believe it's now. I might be misquoting that very slightly, but I believe it's Michael Baine's character, or who Michael Baine's character was. I don't even think Michael Baine's voice for that game like he is for Blood Dragon, but Riggs I don't even know what the character's name is in that movie, but yeah.
The thing you really should do to give yourself the true history was there was a whole Reddit AMA from one of the guys who worked on the game, who when it came out and it was getting shit on like crazy, he talks about obviously a lot of these stories that you're talking about, but he in detail lists the amount of insanity that happened as far as shuttling back responsibilities from who was doing what level to it would come out and they were like, this is fucking terrible, we have to redo it in a month, and anyway, you can look at the whole development cycle and it's just so much fuckery. So I don't know.
All right, I think it makes
All right, we'll keep it. Yeah,
the,
whatever.
The
All right,
AI,
yeah, that's fair.
just the shoddy
Yeah.
make of the game alone.
really
That's
bad.
fair.
This next game,
Visually, it looks like Ash too. Nobody really
Yeah.
mentions
Yeah,
that. That
it
game
does look
looks
pretty
like
bad.
shit.
it It looks terrible. It looks like you gave me the Unreal Engine and said make an Aliens game.
All right. I
The
guess.
trailers and everything, they were talking. You know, it was pimped out as something that was going to be modern and look good and play well. Didn't play well, but you could make it look good. Maybe.
No, they couldn't, John. They really couldn't.
They didn't.
You have the Unreal Engine. Like, how do you fuck that up? Unreal Engine just looks good. Like, it's just a good-looking
Well,
engine.
no, that's another thing, though. It's Unreal 3. If you don't know how to make an Unreal 3 game at this point,
Dude,
I don't know what to
seriously,
tell
you could give Dan and me the Unreal 3 engine with Unreal Ed, and we could figure something
I
out
could
better
put
than
some
this.
textures on it, I'm sure.
I know how to use Unreal Ed. We could design better levels than this.
Notch made a game in 48 hours that looked as good as Aliens Colonial Marine visually in Java.
That's
Java.
true.
So
That's
yeah.
So this next game, I doubt any of us played, but I know it's fucking terrible. It also they got in. I forget. There was a little bit of controversy surrounding this because it wasn't at all what it was supposed to be. So right after all the hype of Telltale's Walking Dead season 1, the TV show was still in full swing, comics going strong. Activision gets a whole Walking Dead license and puts out this little guy, Walking Dead Survival
For
Instinct.
$50 fucking dollars
For
too.
$50 goddamn dollars.
Wow.
And it it was received as one of the worst games of the year. In fact, most of you may not have even heard of it.
The
I
Metascore
remember
is
watching the
38.
trailers. I remember watching the first trailer and being like, it's going to be fucking horrid. Like, the trailers were awful for this game.
It's
I had to
just
go on
what
YouTube.
happens when a developer or a publisher, in this case Activision, is given the rights to
To a big
something that
name.
is
To
print
in
money.
the hype
to
stages,
print money.
and they just do something quick while the show's got hype, so they can get money. That's all that they did.
The license
Actually-
to print money. That's what
Yep.
Walking Dead is. Like that's why what Telltale has done with them is so admirable because they just
Yeah,
have
they
a
made it
license to
good.
print money and they still give a shit.
Yep, it's true.
It's interesting that this is on this list because according to Eurogamer.net, Terminal Reality, the developer that made that game, appears to have shut down 3 days ago.
It's their only game on Steam. I don't know if they've made anything else.
Well, they did the Blood Rain games apparently, and
well,
the
okay.
2009 Ghostbusters game. That's
great.
Oh wait, Ray, they really did Ghostbusters?
yeah.
That was a
2000
I
good
didn't hate
game.
that game.
Ghostbusters was a decent game. That surprises me.
I watched some video of that. It looked fair to Midland.
It wasn't a great game, but it was okay.
And they also did apparently Nocturne. I don't even know what that is.
It got a also for reference. This looks better than Colonial Marines. Just visually, this looks better. Ghostbusters has got the real deal, but it suggested a studio that could go on to much better things, and then connect Star Wars, and now this. So Terminal
Connect
Reality
Star
did,
Wars.
some really
They
good.
did
Def
connect
Jam
Star
Rap
Wars.
Star.
Oh.
So
Wow.
this is saying a lot. This last sentence says a lot in this review. If you don't want The Walking Dead, a much revered franchise, tarnished forever, then avoid this game. It is
Well, I mean,
simple
the show
hack
already
work.
does that itself.
Yeah, it is
show
simple
is
hack
garbage.
work, fan exploitation at its most crude. So apparently,
Wow,
it's
yeah.
super-
This list of games they've made is not really a winner. They did do the Metal Slug anthology for the Wii. I actually own that game.
Well, Metal Slug is sweet. You can't like.
Yeah,
Unless
you really
mess that
you
up,
literally you
but-
took a MAME emulator and ported it to Wii. Like, good job, guys.
So, I think this makes it because of the pure exploitation of this game and the fact that they really did just, as you guys said, they just said, "Hey, we got this Walking Dead license, guys.
Yeah.
Fucking just throw some shit together, dude. It's hot right now. Fuck, put someone named Clementine in that shit. Throw it out there." I think it makes it. This is
All
gonna be
right.
a hard list to call down, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
this next game on
Because they're all bad for different reasons, which is
Yeah.
going to be the problem.
Day One Garry's Incident. If you haven't heard of this game, it is very maligned. There are Let's Plays of it simply to make fun of it, for no other reason, much like Mark does with many games, like Saw and that kind of thing. But Day One Garry's Incident is a $20 game on Steam. But the main reason this game became famous for being bad was Total Biscuit did a WTF is, and then the video is claimed by the people who make it simply because he shit all over the game. And then
Yep.
they made a big reaction video for it, and they ended up rescinding that claim. But it is $20. $20 that game. And
Yeah.
much maligned. I can't really speak to it
I did not play it. I had actually the only thing I knew about it was that the developers hated Total Biscuit.
Oh, apparently it's just completely broken as far as tech. The tech is just like it just crashes constantly.
It was one of those games that I went to its Steam page and I was confused by the title, and then looking at the screenshots, I was like, why does this look like some weird Mayan bullshit with spirit animals? I didn't know what was going on, so I didn't even buy it to make fun of it because I didn't understand what the game was trying to accomplish.
What I immediately thought of when I saw and heard of this game was this guy saw Garry's mod and was like, that shit's hot right now. We're going to name this Garry's Incident. Someone's going to mistake that shit.
Who the fuck is Garry? I don't know this man. I want to know who Garry. I don't want to know who Garry is. That's the problem. You're naming this after a character. Nobody fucking understands who Garry is. It's the most boring fucking name. It's like Abe's Odyssey. Like Abe's Odyssey is a good name for a title that involves the name of the character, because like you got this weird fucking looking character. His mouth is all sewn shut. Abe's got all these biblical fucking connotations. Odyssey's got another fucking like whole religious story connotation with Homer's Odyssey, and then you have this fucking guy, Garry's Incident. It sounds like fucking some guy spilled coffee on his tie.
That's what I was just about to say. He like spilled his milk in the kitchen.
Fuck Garry and fuck everybody who looks like Garry.
Garry put a shirt on backwards. Let's make a game.
Here we go.
What an incident that was.
Fuck Garry and everybody who lives in Garry's house.
Oh my god, I'm looking at so this wasn't even reviewed by IGN. So it was given
That's how you know it's bad.
It was given to a blog on IGN to review. Rating 0.0. It's really awful. The fucking screenshots. Yeah. It's just broken, dude. Like everything is. There's no textures when you look down in the area where this guy is.
You were totally right about the title. You might as well call it like Office Chair or Plaid Pants. Like, I
would play Plaid Pants. I would play that game.
Yeah. See, I just made that up in 1 second, and it had more intelligent thought than entire game design. That's fucked up.
What is Plaid Pants about, though, Scott? I have to know.
I don't know, but yeah, I thought that would.
Are they Garry's Plaid Pants?
Maybe if it was Garry's Incident or whatever, Plaid Pants. I don't know. How long could we make this title? Day one's Garrett's coffee incident wearing plaid pants in his office chair.
So apparently this game starts out as a like Far Cry 3 type deal, like you're on an island, you gotta survive, and slowly turns into Heavy Rain. How does that even occur? How do you even go
weird
from
combo.
Far Cry 3 to David?
I'm gonna say that there's no way that game could ever portray Heavy Rain.
No,
how?
like it means poorly as fuck, but it like tries to be this super story-driven, like interactive. It starts out as Far Cry 3 type deal, and then goes into like with no warning.
I really want to be like halfway through the game, and David Cage comes walking through the woods yelling, "Jason! Jason! Garry! You spilled your coffee, Garry!"
Oh god!
The coffee stain on Garry's soul becomes.
Don't even get me started on the coffee incident. Like incident. Like why that fucking word though? Incident. Like that really doesn't sound bad. Like that's the fucking euphemism that people use when they don't like. Oh yeah, the whole like that whole fiasco. Like it's like that fucking stupid.
Like they didn't have the story written out at all. So like
connotations. It's not imposing at all. It doesn't make me interested at all. And wasn't this developed by the fucking 4Z guys?
Yeah, I think so.
Released in the middle of the whole.
Really?
Well, that explains.
Wild Games Studio is the. I'm trying to see if there's a Wikipedia that shows what games they've made.
I remember there. I remember there being like a Reddit post. Like it was actually not even like a like, hey, let's talk about this. But it was like a PSA. It was like a warning. Like this game was made by these guys. Do not buy it. I think I could be wrong about that.
I saw that. You're correct.
The end of this blog post on IGN. Do not support Wild Game Studios at all. This product is nothing but an insult to the gaming community. So there you go.
Just from this review, it looks like one of those games. Remember, like back in the '90s, you would get like 1,001 games on a CD. It looks like one of those games.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my god, the lighting effects on that third screenshot
God, what
coming
the
through the trees is the greatest thing ever.
So
That
what do
is-
we think? This is gonna
Oh,
be
of
so-
course that can stay on the list. Why
Oh,
not?
yeah.
Sure. Yeah, it's
God,
definitely
Any game that
there.
gets a 0.0.
Yeah.
From
If IGN
IGN,
didn't even bother,
from-
yeah.
All right, this one probably won't make the cut, but we're going to talk about it. Call of Duty Ghosts. Now,
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not the worst game to
it's
me.
not the
really
worst
isn't.
game. It is a terrible PC port.
Oh god, it's the worst.
It doesn't. On opening night, Orb was running it in 720p just to
Yeah.
make it playable at a decent frame rate. There's no FOV slider, and then they threatened to ban when we all used FOVLY or however you want to pronounce it.
Yep.
It also used 6 gigs of RAM on launch for no reason. Then they
Yep.
rescinded that when the community found that out. Like,
Yep.
just
It's just a company
So
being
many
openly
technical
hostile to
issues.
its consumers. Like, we just, like, fuck you guys. We know you'll just pay for this no matter how bad it is. That's
Like,
what
it
that
doesn't-
and I
game
did.
is.
And it doesn't make any sense to me how they go from what I
did not
assume
buy it.
is a console port, right? But they get it to the PC, and somehow they get it to require 6 gigs of RAM. And whenever it's loading the game, it uses literally 100% of my processor every
Yeah.
time. I'm recording the game for my Let's Play, and I was using OBS to do it because DX Story doesn't work with the game. Go figure. But I recently switched to Shadow Play because my CPU can't handle recording the game with OBS while Call of Duty is section of
Yeah.
the game, so it stutters. I was even stuttering today recording with Shadow Play. I don't understand how that fucking works. It stutters
it's-
everywhere.
It seems like they didn't even try. They didn't take native code. It's like you said, they probably
Yeah.
ported it from the console, which is a totally different architecture than their PC is. So it's just like, well, let's see how much of it we can emulate with DirectX calls.
Well,
Like,
what I don't
oh, we
understand-
coded natively.
What I don't understand is I know the game came out before the new consoles, like fucking 10 days before. It wasn't like
Mhm.
this. Why not just give us the PS4 and Xbox One version, which are already PC versions?
Right.
I don't understand why you ported the 360 version over to like. What,
Yeah, when the architecture is
God.
the same.
it doesn't
Probably
make any
because-
Because
Oh,
according
sorry,
to Gassy, according to Max, like the PS4 version of Ghost runs just fine. I want that experience on PC for this Let's Play that I'm doing. I just want the game to run properly. It looks like fucking garbage, but why does it run this bad? I don't understand.
That
I
was
could
the
probably
other thing.
run. I can run Crysis 3 better than Call of Duty Ghosts, and that's an abomination.
It's probably because they wanted to launch simultaneously on all platforms, which is why they gave you that version, and there was a delay between like the PS4, Xbox One version. That's probably the only reason why. I would have rather they delayed
Well,
it. Like,
the thing
just give me the
is-
PC version when the next gen version comes
The
out.
thing is, they put out the game, and they clearly said, and it actually does if you crank all the shit up. Not that you can play the game, but if you crank all the shit up, it looks much better than other Call of Duty games. Like, it clearly
Yeah.
has like HD textures and all that stuff. It's just you can't really play multiplayer.
Yeah,
with
right.
those
'Cause if
on.
you go
Can't play if you do any
Yeah.
of that.
So,
If you go below extra, you're basically using 8-bit textures for some reason. They just fucking take it. You have to be on extra to be able to use the proper resolution. It makes no sense.
but all that being said, Mark and I
There is
played
dry
this
fur.
for,
There
like,
there is the fur tech. That being
There is
said,
that.
they do have the so
How
this
was
was
that
something
the
that
first? Sorry.
this was actually brought into the game after it was released. So with Nvidia cards, you can activate the fur technology that
Please.
makes Riley. I'm not kidding.
Please.
It makes Riley's
Please.
tail
I'm
and
done.
the other fur on his body more lush and more realistic looking.
I'm done. I'm
That is-
fucking
This is
done.
the
That's what they
first
spent
patch
their
they put out.
development time on. Okay, that's great.
Literally, with all the problems in gameplay, the game just ran like ass. The first patch they gave for PC gamers was the fur on Riley looks better now. Install this shit.
Lord.
What a way to just say, like, here's our fucking shitty game, and fuck you even harder
So-
for buying it.
At least do it on launch like Tomb Raider, you fucks.
Yeah. and here's the thing. Here's the thing about this game, though, that makes it not make the cut. First night I played it, right? It was horrible. It was a horrible experience in every single way. It ran like shit, and I couldn't figure out how to make the textures look good. I had to, like, adjust some obscure graphics option that no other fucking game has. There's, like, texture quality, and then there was texture resolution, and then there's texture integrity or some other thing in there. It doesn't make any sense. But anyway, you have to put that on extra just to get HD textures. Then it runs like garbage. And I was like totally disappointed the first night. If you saw me on Twitter, it was just pretty much like, why did the worst $60 I've ever spent. And then second night, I hop on with Nikon and Mark, and we had a great time for about 4
We did.
hours. Like, we had a great time playing Call of Duty in a game that worked for 4 hours. And so for that alone, I feel like if it worked,
it's still
when it
yeah.
works,
I don't think it can
it's
make
still
the
a
list.
pretty okay Call of Duty game. Like, so it's nowhere near the rest of these. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, that's true.
No, that's true.
I could barely contain my laughter when I saw this Google Doc with the Garrison picture inside of it.
That's about how good the textures in the game look. I think it was blacklight.
That was me. I did put it in chat. Anybody who missed it, there it is again.
Oh God.
Sorry to people who listen to the audio version.
Yeah. No, I'm not sorry. You're fucking plebes.
Scott still hates you, but
I'm still mad.
All right,
Scott's
up
mad.
next,
He cannot monetize you.
That's right.
I heard this game is awful, but I haven't played
Yeah.
it. Dark.
I put it on the list so
the
I can talk
Vampire
about it.
RPG.
Yeah. Talk about
This
it.
was on Steam, was it not? Is it no longer?
Yes.
I
It
cannot.
No, it is on Steam. It actually has DLC that was recently released last week, if I'm not mistaken. $5 DLC, if you're interested.
You know what's great? is
Weren't you so?
Speaking
Worth
of
buying
terrible
then? Yeah.
fucking titles such as Garry's Incident, I literally can't find your game on Steam because you called your stupid fucking game Dark. Are you kidding me?
And it's in all caps. It's in all caps.
Yeah, in all caps because that makes it unique. All right, well, as long as it's in all caps, fucking,
So-
I'm gonna make a game called Game in all caps, except the E is gonna be lowercase. And boom. That's
So Dark is an interesting title where you wake up. I believe it's one of those games where you wake up with amnesia, like 99 fucking percent of games these days. For some reason, can't write anything except for a main character waking up from fucking amnesia. I don't understand why everybody does this, but he's inside of some vampire sex craze club, and he's trying to learn about being a vampire. Apparently, he's a vampire now. So this game likes to use dialogue trees, but it uses them to the worst extent that I've ever seen any game ever fucking attempt to use a dialogue tree. It's so atrocious. Most of the time, what you do is repeat questions to all of the different characters inside of an area, and they tell you the exact same fucking information. I swear to God, at least 10 to 15 times, my character said, "Tell me more about vampires." Like, he said that to every fucking character. He asked, "Tell me more about vampires." But and then with the gameplay, whenever you walk around, if you try to do a circle with your character, and you do your WASD quickly to where your character goes around in a circle, the animations don't blend together. They're hard cuts to different. So like I'm facing straight. If I press left and down, I just immediately turn 90 degrees. Like there's no fluid
Like
animation to it.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
it's just fucking snap to.
That's
And then and then the stealth obviously is just garbage. Nobody ever sees you when they should. The physics are terrible. The gameplay is god awful. It's just the worst thing ever.
So the premise of the game is you wake up with amnesia in a vampire sex club and then have awkward dialogue. That's not a game. I call that Saturday.
Now, the question,
Hold on. At least at one point in the game, you walk up to a statue that is like two. I don't know if they were angels or what, but they were like on top of each other in this really erotic position. And if you click on it, the character will go, "Pretty, pretty." Like, and he says that every time you click on it. So at least he can appreciate modern art.
I can't.
Wow.
So,
That's just
does this make the cut?
I'd
five
let it go.
games.
I just wanted to talk about it and share with everybody since I was the one to experience how bad it was.
All right, we're gonna go ahead
I love how you said that. You're like, I'll let it go. I'll let it go.
and strike that one.
We don't need to talk about it anymore.
I don't think it's as bad as the other 5 that we have already had make the cut, because it might work actually. But this next game
this is another one I put on.
is a mod. It's actually a pretty revered mod in the grand scheme of things.
And it makes no sense.
But Cry of Fear.
Hate it.
I've watched whole playthroughs of this before, way back in the day when it was
When it was in
obscure
beta.
mod.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty like the jump scares are pretty good the first time.
Oh, God, no, they're not. No, they're not, Dan.
All right, you played it.
Okay,
You go ahead.
let's discuss this game.
The
all right,
animations are horrendous.
on ModDB, this game has an average community rating of 9.4 out of 3,000 votes submitted. Okay, so this was released in full in April of this year, and I played through it for my Halloween streams. I had already seen somebody play through it before, and I knew from the get-go that it would be fun to make fun of because it's.
Okay, but time out. But see, that doesn't count then, because you can't watch a playthrough of a scary game, know what's coming, and then you are biased then.
It's not scary. Okay, all right. This is the beginning of the game. No, shut up. Shut up, Scott. All right, this is the beginning of the game.
All right, I'll let Mark go, and then I'm going to counter.
So the beginning of the game, a lot of people know, it's you're in a room with a camera, and you're walking through these dark areas, and you're taking pictures of X marks the spot on the fucking wall. And, a couple of times a creature shows up, and then at the end something just pops up in your face. Like it's fucking cliche garbage, and it's obviously going to happen. Nobody is going to send you into a dark room taking pictures of one area in a room to progress without throwing a jump scare in it. But then after that never shows up in the game ever again. You never use that fucking camera. The intro makes absolutely no sense to the context of the rest of the game. So the game is
I see what you're saying.
So with the game, you get hit by a car, and I guess that this is
the beginning,
just some
right
kind of,
after that incident.
Yeah. So this is just some kind of like psychotic thing that's going on in your brain with you. So you're going through this apartment complex and solving these puzzles of some weird scientist who's got these fucking creatures that he sends after you, and one of the bosses is a monster that is on a hospital bed that is floating because it is attached to balloons. And this monster shits out babies that fly at you.
All right, I'm done.
Not kidding.
No, this is
shits
best
them
game
out.
of the year. This isn't
From
forced.
the
game.
Yeah,
Why
what
is this on the
category is
list?
this?
This is great.
This sounds like a
this is
bad
about-
acid trip.
This is about halfway through the game. You're on an apartment rooftop, and this thing attacks you. And
I gotta look up
it
a
makes
video
no
of that.
fucking sense. It's the worst boss design I've ever seen in my fucking life. And that's not to say anything about the puzzles. So the first puzzle in the game requires you to get a lock code. And to get the lock code, you have to find random pieces of paper that are placed on the ground for no fucking reason that give you a username and a password to somebody's computer that has the code on it. Why would anybody in their right fucking mind look for pieces of paper on the ground for somebody's username and password to get a code for a fucking lock on a door that's nowhere near where the fucking computer is? It
Just
makes
on the
no
off
sense.
chance. Just on the
Wow,
off
Mark-
chance it might be there, right? Yeah.
It's the
I don't-
dumbest. It's the dumbest thing ever.
Well, I'm just saying, as far as like this setup not having anything to do with the context of the game, maybe it is. Maybe like the whole jump scare, the enemy pops out and scares you, and then you don't have the camera anymore. Maybe the guy stole your camera, and the rest of the game you're trying to get your camera back. That's why you're going to hell.
Actually,
You're like,
yeah,
that
'cause I
motherfucker, that
never-
was a Nikon. That was good.
I never reached
I
the end
paid
of the game
$500
because
for that camera.
during my playthrough, I never reached the end of the game because I ended up in a save state that I kept dying in. So that's another fun thing, is that you can't like restart a certain section of a game. You only go off of your save state. So I was stuck and I had to quit playing at the end. So I never got to see the sweet fucking ending to that game, whatever it was. But if you're not aware of some of the monsters in the game, some of the basic ones, one of them is a lady that walks around, and when she gets close to you, her unborn baby, pops out of her fucking stomach holding a knife and attacks you.
I
Like
still
that-
say this is game of the year, not
Yeah,
worst game
Mark,
of the year.
everything you're telling me makes me want to play this again.
Scott, you would
That is
never
a
play this
fucking
in your life.
monster.
I
Go
actually
ahead,
did.
do
I
it,
played the
Scott.
opener.
It's-
I will.
it's
See, but this
great.
is the thing. This is where Mark and I differ. Mark is one of those people that's like, scare me. Like, I go into scary shit. Like, I'm not in it to disprove its scariness. I want to be freaked out. So the first time I played Cry of Fear, even if like you're judging it from a like story perspective, which I totally get, which is like you're reviewing the mod and you're like, it doesn't make any sense. It's not really that scary. But like playing through the first time, I didn't play through the whole game. I think I probably played maybe less than halfway, because I'm a pussy. But like, I don't know. Like for what it was, like I didn't like. I'm not. It's a free mod, right? Or not? Well,
Yeah,
it
it's
wasn't
free.
beta.
It's free. It's free.
So
just
it's like,
through
how
Steam
much
now.
can you expect? I mean,
Well, if you're going to go with jump scares, you have to build tension. That has to be a thing.
That's
the
actually-
player
Yeah.
the player has to be
really?
worried
Maybe I'm
about
just a
what
giant
might happen.
pussy.
You
Because
are.
I'm
No,
yes,
Amnesia.
I am.
The first Amnesia did that well. It did
Yeah.
that very well, creating an atmosphere that left you
yeah.
worried about what would
Tense,
happen.
yeah.
And when they jump scared you, it fucking worked. But this game puts you in a dark room with no noise and a camera that you just take pictures of randomly designated things. It's obviously going to happen. You can't be
Amnesia
afraid
is
of it.
actually in comparison to a very difficult game for me to finish because half the time I'm freaking myself out about things that haven't happened.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's a mark of a good horror game.
Yeah.
But that's also, I mean, yeah, it's a small developer, and yeah, it's a cheap game. But that's also like a game. I think wasn't Garry, not Garry's mod, fucking this mod, Cry of Fear. Wasn't Cry of Fear developed by like one guy?
Yeah.
I think it was one or two, but the reason why it's my worst is because of how long it was in development and under beta, and people could give it feedback, and it still ended up as fucking garbage as it is. And I don't understand how anybody can say anything good about it.
I think,
how it has a 9.4 on ModDB, I don't understand.
Let me go along with Mark on that. In that this game is in development for like what 3 or 4 years, if not
something like
longer.
that. Like people have been able to play it for a long time.
The animations are terrible. The graphics are pretty bad. What engine is it? Is it on Source?
Half-Life 1.
Half-Life
on the
1.
original Half-Life engine.
So here's the thing though. Black Mesa took 8 years, right? But it came out and it was one of the most amazing experiences I've ever played through. Like nothing was janky about it at all.
It was very
if
good.
anything, it's way better than Half-Life 1. Like it's just better. So, if you had that much time, I know it's a mod, I realize it's part-time, but so is the Half-Life 2 cinematic mod. There's another example. That is fucking amazing.
Yep.
There are tons of people, there are tons of like 1 or 2 man teams that have made mods or full games that have done way better than this, and without showing the game to people beforehand, and this person had tons of feedback to go off of.
I would
and
also
tons of
argue,
time.
though, that
Like,
those games that you're mentioning, Dan, are games that already were fantastic games that were tweaked.
Well,
they already
the
have a story. They already
cinematic mod though was like 5,000 hours or something insane because they did every asset in HD again, and then they put it all through like the Portal 2 engine. Like they converted everything to Portal 2 engine. So I mean,
I didn't know that.
The manpower. Like, the time is like 3 guys. The time that those guys put into cinematic mod is like... And they put in, like, some insane amount on equipment, too. Because they needed stations to render on. So it was like... You know, they were getting, like... what I would assume would be, like, Mac Pros or something. You know, something equivalent. Like, you know, $3,000-$4,000 machines to do the texture rendering and stuff. So, like... But they took just as long. Like... And
I just don't know if this could win. I don't think this could win worst game of the year. It could win letdown because it's also a mod. I mean, how do we approach that?
it's a game, though. It's a game.
It is a game. It
is a game.
Full conversion.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
it is full conversion.
Now,
Yeah.
I might consider this for worst game of the year only because I was watching you stream it, Mark, and you were fighting this boss that was like this head that popped out of the ground, and his eyes were all like googly, and he starts like going like this, he's like, and it was hilarious. It was honestly fucking. I was dying. It was so funny.
You just
but I know
walk
it's-
into a room and it's like a well that the head the head is on top of, and it's just twitching the entire time. It makes no fucking sense
It's just
at
doing
all.
the weird googly eye, like it looks like it's orgasming in a cartoon or something. And I was like, well, shit, I need a GIF of that so I can link that to people for like my Facebook like all the time. So, you know, I got to give credit. I hate Tumblr, but I got to give credit to them for being a good source for GIFs. So I plugged in Cry of Fear into GIFs. Only Cry of Fear into Tumblr looking for GIFs, and found so much PewDiePie suggestive fan art, like gay fan art.
Oh wow!
Just on the search term Cry of Fear,
Wow.
that I'm gonna have to give that worst game of the year.
Please tell me that he was fucking the bedridden balloon monster and it was shitting a baby into his mouth.
Oh God!
No, because it was all gay.
Somebody draw that.
It was all gay. Apparently, that enemy was a woman because it was giving birth. It was all like none of it was like really graphic. It was who was that? There's another guy he plays with named Cry something or other. I forget I don't know his name, but like it's his best friend or whatever, and it's just him. It's them like seductively holding each other and like looking at the camera. And there's like fucking sparkles all over the place.
God.
So,
but gonna have to give.
I think the consensus is that we can't say it's worst. Although Mark says it's his worst.
Yeah, it's my worst game of the
throw
year.
his vote.
Period.
He can throw his vote. Yeah, he gets
For
his
PC.
vote, so.
For PC. If I had a console option, it wouldn't be the worst.
All right. All right, so we're gonna keep it in there. Mark is vehement, so
Yeah, he's
I don't
very
think it's gonna
passionate.
win, but I think it could be nominated.
I don't need it to win. I just need validation that it's a terrible
So
game.
this next one is on both lists for different reasons.
Yeah.
I don't know that this can win. SimCity,
No.
the new SimCity.
No, it won't win.
No, but it is really
Definitely, it
bad.
may win biggest letdown.
So
it may
the
It deserves to be in both lists, though.
The launch was terrible, and the game really never got better. It wasn't the SimCity game that anybody wanted to play. To this day, it's not that game.
It wasn't even the one they promised us it was going to be.
Yeah, that's the thing.
And even with the online only shit gone, the basic mechanics of the game were broken.
Yeah, and
Yep.
it's still
Yeah.
apparently it's still
Yeah.
shit.
I mean, things have been patched, but when nothing beat when the first DLC was a, I think it was Verizon, but it might have been like Toyota or somebody. The DLC was just like something with that logo on it.
Oh, it was the like Nissan Leaf, wasn't it? Their
Yes.
car.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
Nissan's
yeah.
electric car. Like that was
Forgot
the
about
first
that.
DLC. It was like $5. It's like, seriously, are you fucking kidding me? So fucking Nissan Leafs will show up on my town? Thanks, great. Don't give me unlimited city
Great.
size or
Yeah,
like
exactly.
an actual SimCity game that I fucking want to play. No, don't give me that. Just give me some fucking Nissan Leafs. Thanks, I'm good now. Thanks. Also, this free Dead Space 3 was cool too. Fuck you. What a piece of...
Yeah, like one of the biggest problems was that the
about it,
AI
never played
was not doing traffic correctly.
Right.
Like people
Yeah.
were not going the right routes to their jobs or to their homes and causing traffic jams. Someone's in the chat saying that they kind of fixed it, but I've
Yeah.
never looked into it after that. But I just know that it was horribly broken at the beginning.
Yep. And we were
Any-
so hyped, but that's for the
Oh
other
my gosh.
category. We were so hyped for this game.
I mean, any game that the developer, or not the developer, the publisher has to come out and go, you know what, here's a free game because
Yeah,
we
we really
really screwed the pooch on this one. That's a bad game. That's a bad game.
It's also well, we always say this, but it's such a sin because the engine itself is so much potential. Like it's so much potential.
The
Like,
game's
if they-
beautiful. The game is
Yeah, and
gorgeous.
it looks great.
I actually just talked to Rocco this week about this because he wanted to buy the expansion, and I was like, no, I will never put more money into that game. If they open up the city sizes and they like enable mod support, like they keep
Dude.
every month they're like, we sent a survey out to our Origin users to see if they would be interested in this, and every month I'm sure it's 100% like, yeah, we totally want this. They still don't do it. So if they would do that, that game could be playable.
You know what they should have done? Because their excuse was for the city size, which is still my biggest complaint about the game.
Yeah.
The biggest, yeah.
The city size was it's limited by current computers. Well,
Bullshit.
you realize
My computer's not current then.
Also, you realize that this is PC, and all of us have different processors. So what you do is say, well, if you have some shit-ass dick Celeron or something, sorry, dude, your city size is limited to this. But if
Right.
I'm rocking a 3770K and it's overclocked, I should be able to have the whole fucking map. Like,
Totally.
there's nothing...
Well, the thing
in
was-
like,
Sorry, go ahead.
go ahead.
Yeah, well, so they had said all this bullshit about like it has to be online to play the game because that's how the mechanics of the game
Yeah.
work, and the city sizes have to be this specific way because the computer isn't powerful enough to do it. Literally a week after the game came out, someone found a way around all that and was posting videos online
Some
of like,
dude
here's an
modded it.
enormous city, and here's like you don't have to be online to play the game. Like everything they
say
told
this.
us about that game was a gigantic lie, and I fucking hate EA so. I wrote an article on KBMOD about this game that said I will never buy another fucking EA game because you screwed
And
me
then
on
you bought
Sims.
Battlefield 4.
And then I bought Battlefield.
And you
That
like
game's-
it too.
That
Yeah.
game's
This is exactly why EA gets away with shit like this.
Yeah.
That game is really fucking good. Battlefield 4 is so good, man.
So, but I don't think it can make, because I did play like 30 some hours of this game and
Yeah,
had some
same.
fun
I
with it. But
played
I mean,
enough
it was
of it,
still. But in the end, you're still like, I haven't come back to it since like
Nope.
April or
No.
something. And it was just like there was a certain point in that game where you just felt like, well, there's nothing more I can do in the city. Plus, because the traffic was so bugged. Fat Attack in chat was saying traffic and all that is fixed, but the design, like city design, still sucks. Like it still sucks to build a city because you're limited. You can't move out of it. Also, one of the other things was, oh, cool, I can control a region. Well, maybe this gets me around the city thing. It's so hard to do the region thing, like that. If you try to do it by yourself, like if you make a private region, try to do like 60, it's like impossible
Right.
to keep everything
Yeah.
straight. Or try to make like a, like you can make a trash city, or you can make like a
Yeah.
city that just provides all the power and like. But that was, I think that in their head, that was how this was supposed to work. but it definitely doesn't work that way.
You would literally have to run like 9 cities to make any of the one city successful, and even that didn't work. It just didn't work at all. It was a bad game. You should feel bad.
So
you got burned.
So that gets crossed off though, because in the end it was a bad game, but it fits the other category better, which we get into. This next one, our second repeat.
Yes.
Truly a game-worthy.
Infestation Survivor Stories, formerly known as the War Z. It was a nominee last year. It finished second, actually, in the actual numbers of voting, far behind Orion Dino Beatdown. But it is a really bad game. It's still really bad. You still have to pay to res yourself.
Good God.
I don't know if anything's changed to make this game better. And in fact, it's even sleazier because they changed the name after it got taken off of Steam for being basically exploitative of consumers. So
when you get your game yanked off Steam.
Also, this was made by the same guy racing or whatever that the famous terrible game.
Yeah. Yep.
Yes.
One of the most famous, maybe.
Yeah, made by the same dudes.
Lord.
I think it's got to stay on this round.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
It was second last year. I mean, there's no way it can't.
And it's the weirdest thing how people still latch onto this game and try to convince people that it is good in any way, shape, or form. People still watch it on Twitch in pretty large numbers compared to other games.
Listen,
and I don't get it at all.
All right, so that's got to stay on there. This next game, Dark Matter. I don't think anyone here has played it, but actually the playthroughs of this game, people were really happy with Dark Matter, and then they realized the game didn't have an ending. And wasn't finished.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what this game is. I remember this now.
This game makes me so angry.
Not finished, and this is. But I wanted to bring it up as a bad game because that's just fucking bad.
Yeah.
Why you do that? That's
Yeah.
bad.
So if you didn't hit your goal, like it was a Kickstarter thing where they didn't hit the goal they wanted on Kickstarter.
They ran out of money. They basically
Right.
said.
So if that happens to your game, if you're a fledgling developer that's like watching this and thinking like, man, we can't make this game, we don't have enough money. This is what you do. If you have a game that's almost done or you have a part of it, stop it and make it episodic like Telltale. So when you raise money from the sales of the game, you can make Chapter 2, which is all these people would have had to do to not piss off the gaming community.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they would have been fine.
It's like $15 or $20 on Steam. But this game can't win this, but I wanted to bring it up as like a sort of... There's been a trend on this list thus far. Broken tech stuff. Things going wrong with AI.
Things just unfinished in general.
Yeah, things unfinished. And this definitely fits into that, as the entire game is unfinished. However, I think we have to strike it. I put it on here, but I think we have to strike it because the game itself is actually regarded as being pretty good. It's just that you can't finish it.
Right. Well, didn't they put the message at the end that was like, sorry, this isn't longer. We just didn't make enough money to finish the game.
It says, like, as she entered the heroine of the story, as she entered the elevator, some, like, ominous feeling went over her, and then blah, 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 we couldn't finish the game. It's just like, okay. So we have one last one on here. I don't know who put this on here, because this game looks good on Orb's stream.
It does.
I put this on here because of what they did to it on PC. Okay. Because it runs on the same exact engine the Battlefield runs on, which we're Battlefield 4. So you know that what that engine's capable of and what it can do. It's capped at 30 frames a second. If you remove the cap through like the command line or an INI editor or whatever, they tied the speed of the game directly to the frames per second. So this is one of the few times where I watched something by Total Biscuit.
And that shit is hilarious.
It's amazing. Like, he uncapped it to like 120 frames a second, and it was so bad he couldn't even press like A to continue past the tutorial because it wouldn't register his game press or his button press because it was running too fast. Like, it's on the same engine Battlefield 4 is on. It could look amazing and play really well, and they did just stupid, arbitrary bullshit to it. And I just want another Need for Speed game that's good. I just want another Underground 2. That's all I want.
I think it looks really fun and really good, so I would strike it. But
I mean, I would buy it under the fact that I could probably get a refund due to EA's refund policy and play it with the frame rate uncapped just to experience that for a day and then refund it.
Yeah, like
I would probably do that.
So
it's
we're
not
talking
gonna
about
win.
Need for Speed Rivals stream, by the way. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to win. It's a franchise that has such an amazing history. Like the old Need for Speed games are awesome racing games for arcade racers, and now it's just like this once a year churn out garbage bullshit series that EA could not care less about, and they're just like, well, just keep making them, dumbasses keep buying it, so whatever, and that's really sad.
All right, so first round is over. This took a lot longer than I thought it was going to, but I'm okay with that. We also talked partially about the next round table, so that'll be okay there. So what made it through, we have a longer list of nominees for this than other times. Infestation Survivor Series makes it through, of course. Cry of Fear, Day 1 Garry's Incident, The Walking Dead Survival Instinct, Alien Colonial Marines, Ride to Hell Retribution, and Orion Dino Horde. Okay, so I think there's a few obvious ones that I think we should strike Cry of Fear in the second round.
Go for it.
Mention.
Go for it.
I would say so, yeah.
So I think Cry of Fear can go. It is bad, but
it's not the worst. It's not the worst game.
Look at the competition.
Yeah, the competition is fucking hot this year.
Fuck, man.
Dude, there were not this many bad games last year.
No.
Straight up. We didn't have a Ride to Hell 2012. That didn't happen. So I'm going to go ahead and say, at this point, I'm going to go ahead and say, God, this is tough. I think my winner, my vote, goes to Ride to Hell Retribution.
Agreed.
That would be my vote.
No redeeming qualities at all.
Yeah,
and
it's the one that I've played that I would say is the worst out of this list now.
That was going to be my vote as well so far.
Yeah, I would agree.
What's it gonna be?
I haven't played any of these is the thing because they've all been so universally negatively received. So I can't even really say. I'm gonna go with Garry's Instinct because I just fucking hate Garry now. And he's got this like huge fucking problem just because you spilled some goddamn coffee. Like, go fuck yourself, Garry. Everybody's got problems. Doesn't mean that we need to make a game about a shitty incident.
Yeah.
That's about it.
I do want to say Katie Zen in the chat is saying Dino Horde was fun. I didn't play it for 24 hours for it to lose. I almost want to vote for it just because he subjected himself to it for that long.
Yeah.
I think other ones we can strike from like a final list would be, I think Survival Instinct can go because that is the most obvious. Like, we bought this and threw it together. Yes, it's bad, but it's not bad in the same awesome reasons that the rest of these are bad. So
you have to look at the backstory.
It appears, unless someone has a gripe. John, do you have a vote?
He can't talk.
Muted. You're muted.
Or he can't.
Yeah, see, this is the problem with my Skype. It's also just fucked up.
You're good
but
now.
I haven't played any of these, so I'm just gonna. If a Metacritic score is that bad, like it's gotta win. Like Destructoid doesn't just say those kind of things.
No, it's true.
So,
I've heard Jim Sterling say some hurtful things about games, but that was the fucking biggest verbal beatdown I've ever heard him give a game was Ride to Hell Retribution. It was awful.
You could almost hear the developers crying at the end of that. Just like, oh god, what have I done with my life?
Well, this means we don't have a repeat winner this year, but we do have 2 repeat nominees.
Yeah.
Let's hope that they don't make a third iteration of these fucking games in 2014.
Orion Dino Horde comes back with a third iteration.
So,
oh god, that'll be great.
The final list: Ride to Hell Retribution is your winner, with nominees Orion Dino Horde, a second time on this list. Aliens Colonial Marines, Day 1 fucking Garry's Incident, and Infestation Survivor Series. That'd be awesome. I'd play the shit out of that.
Bunch of
wrestlers. That'd be awesome.
Survivor Series, Owen Hart, Bret Hart.
Owen Hart, Bret Hart match? Oh my god, yeah. Make it happen. AKA the War Z, another second time winner. Or loser, however you want to take a look at that. So we're going to take a